Right now, the greatest financial empire in human history is quietly collapsing and almost nobody is paying attention. For 80 years, the US dollar has controlled the globe. It is the ultimate cheat code. But a massive coalition of emerging superpowers is buying up record amounts of physical gold, preparing to dethrone the almighty dollar forever. If they succeed, the cash in your bank account could lose its value in a terrifyingly short amount of time. This is the secret war of de-dollarization, and the machine is already in motion. To understand how we got here, you have to understand the most unfair advantage in global economics, the petrodollar system. For decades, if any country wanted to buy oil, they needed US dollars. It did not matter if you were in Europe, Asia, or South America, you needed American greenbacks to keep your lights on and your cars running. This created an infinite global demand for the dollar, and it gave the United States a superpower, the ability to print trillions of dollars out of thin air without immediately destroying its own economy through hyperinflation. Because the rest of the world was forced to absorb those dollars to buy energy, America essentially exported its inflation to everyone else. It was the perfect financial system, an unbreakable monopoly. Until now, a powerful bloc of economies led by China, India, Brazil, and recently joined by massive oil giants like Saudi Arabia and the UAE have decided they are done playing by America's financial rules. They are quietly building a parallel financial universe. Look at the data. Over the last 2 years, global central banks have purchased more physical gold than at any point in the last half century. China has been stockpiling gold at a staggering rate, systematically dumping US Treasury bonds in the process. Why? Because physical gold is the ultimate insurance policy against the dollar. It is untraceable, unhackable, and cannot be printed out of thin air by the Federal Reserve. But gold is just step one. The real weapon is oil. For half a century, Saudi Arabia priced its oil exclusively in US dollars. That was the absolute bedrock of American financial dominance. But recently, the unthinkable happened. Major oil producers are now openly discussing and executing trades in alternative currencies. China is pushing the petro yuan, India is settling trade in rupees, Brazil and China signed an agreement to trade in their own currencies, completely bypassing the US dollar. They are essentially building a financial highway that does not go through New York. Every time a massive oil tanker is paid for in yuan or rupees instead of dollars, the American financial empire loses a brick from its foundation. This brings us to the ultimate vulnerability, the $34 trillion of US national debt. The United States government owes more money than any empire in human history. To manage this massive debt, they rely on foreign countries buying US Treasury bonds. Basically, the rest of the world lends America money, but the biggest buyers are suddenly stepping away from the table. Instead of buying American debt, these rising economic powers are hoarding tangible assets and building alternatives to SWIFT, the global banking messaging system. They want to ensure their wealth cannot be frozen or controlled by Western institutions. This is not just an economic shift, it is a declaration of financial independence. So what happens to you if the world actually stops using the dollar? It is a terrifying lesson in basic supply and demand. Right now, there are trillions of US dollars circulating the globe. If international demand for the dollar evaporates because countries are trading in local currencies backed by gold, those trillions of dollars have nowhere to go but back home to the United States. When a massive tsunami of cash floods back into the domestic economy, the result is catastrophic inflation. The cost of your groceries, your rent, your gas, everything skyrockets. The purchasing power of your savings is obliterated. The American cheat code stops working, and the government can no longer print its way out of debt without turning into an economic disaster. De-dollarization will not happen overnight. It is not a sudden explosion, it is a slow, methodical bleed. The transition has already started. The cracks in the dam are visible to anyone paying attention to the global gold markets and oil trades. The era of the undisputed US dollar monopoly is coming to a violent end. The rules of global wealth are being rewritten right now. The only question is, are you prepared for the crash?